Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to the Mary D Talk Show. For those of you that have never been here, my name is Mary D. Welch, and I am welcoming you to a show. We've been on live every Monday for the past 2 years, and we're going strong. Here we are going into another year, and we're so happy to have you here. Many of you are used to me saying it's a beautiful Monday, and it is a beautiful Monday. I'm actually out of town. I'm here at my cousin's home here in Maryland. Been in Washington D.C. for almost about a week now. So I'm here visiting her and her family. I'm really excited. Always excited when I can visit family and spend some time with them. I know. First of all, I always tell you about the books. I always go, but since I'm out of town, I don't have the book covers to show you those. But I'm always encouraging you to read anything that's encouraging, uplifting, read those things, but don't forget to read about history. I had the opportunity to go to the African American Museum here, the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C. yesterday. And to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, I'm still full from that. I'm still full. I'm still reeling in so many ways from that experience. I literally started crying on the first floor. We were on the first floor. It hadn't even gone up, just the first floor alone, and I started crying. And I was with another lady. I'm here for a convention, as a matter of fact. So we're here for it's called NCNW, National Council of Negro Women Convention. It's their annual convention, and so a group of us went, and I was with another lady, and we were just walking through, and both of us were just teary-eyed. We couldn't even hardly. We definitely didn't finish, but it was still just so emotional for each and every one of us to go through. So I just want to, if you ever get a chance to go, I would encourage you to do so. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we have with us a special guest, and our special guest today is Dr. George Fraser. Now, those of you that know Dr. Fraser or are familiar with his work will know that this gentleman, I'm honored to have every guest. Let me just also say that. But I say this because this gentleman, he didn't know this, but I've definitely been a fan of Dr. Fraser's for a number of years. For many of you know, I'm a retired teacher, retired educator, but he was a speaker at one of our conventions. So I'm really, really just honored and excited to have him here. So let me tell you, I'll read you his bio. He says it's in 425 words, so I'm just going to read that to you. Dr. George C. Fraser is the chairman and CEO of FraserNet Incorporated, a company he founded 32 years ago to lead a global networking and economic development movement for people of African descent. Born in Brooklyn, New York, he was an orphan and foster child for 15 years. Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. He spent 20 years in leadership positions with Procter & Gamble, United Way, and Ford Motor Company before starting his own business, FraserNet Incorporated, in 1987. He's written 6 best-selling books to include Success Runs in Our Race, Click, and most recently, Mission Unstoppable, Ordinary Stories of Failure's Blessings, a book he co-authored with Les Brown. Upscale Magazine named him one of the top 50 power brokers in Black America, and Black Enterprise Magazine called him Black America's #1 networker and featured him on its cover. Dr. Fraser has been featured on 7 national magazine covers. He has received over 350 awards and citations to include induction into the Minority Business Hall of Fame and Museum, 3 honorary doctorate degrees, a chaplaincy, and an ambassadorship. He is a certified financial education instructor, and he has an insurance license. He has been named as one of the best speakers in America, and 5 of his speeches have been selected for global distribution by the prestigious Vital Speeches of the Day magazine, a first for any professional speaker in America. In 2016, President Obama awarded Dr. Fraser the President's Lifetime Achievement Award. Dr. Fraser is most proud of his 2 charter schools he helped found in Cleveland, Ohio, nearly 15 years ago, which educate nearly 300 inner city Black children, of which 60% are boys. As an elder, um, Dr. Fraser will now use his massive network and influence to launch a new virtual nation with no borders, boundaries, or barriers called Fraser Nation, citizens of generational wealth. The goal is to mobilize and unify people of African descent around effective networking, business development, training, and coaching. He will also he will also to join the fight for financial literacy in Black America. His organization has already launched the WINS, Wealth Building Centers and Curriculum. Over the next decade, thousands of new and well equipped faith based WINS centers will be open free of charge to all those who want to teach and learn the basics of wealth creation and management. And over 1 million Black people and allies will be citizens of Fraser Nation. He has been married to Nora Jean for 46 years and has two sons and three granddaughters. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like for you to welcome to the Mary D Talk Show, Dr. George Fraser. Dr. Fraser, you there?
I'm here, live in living color.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're so happy to have you. And we have comments coming in. It says, hi, Mary. Oh, she was talking about the museum. And she says, hello, Dr. Fraser. This is one of our regular. I'll put this is one of our supporters. Gwen is here every week. Thank you, Gwendolyn. Thank you. I tell you, and she says here, wow, great bio. Can't wait to connect with the network. Wow, already.
Thank you.
So, I can tell you, as I said before, Dr. Fraser, you have been, as far as networking, I don't think there's anyone, honestly, more powerful than you. You understand networking. I don't think everybody gets it.
I think you're right. Thank you very much for that, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tell us, you have networked all over the world. What are the attributes of a power networker?
A person that understands the power of the human connection. The person that understands that that's what God wants us to do.
Right.
And he has created us as a communal people. And it is our responsibility and our job to do our work with and through other people. There is no way that you can do the work on your own by yourself in a vacuum. It's not possible. All right.
Right.
So that's critical. And I'm glad you asked that question. I could talk an hour just on the power and importance of effective networking.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm now sort of reframing it kind of differently. And I'm reframing it around the power of the human connection, because that's really what God wants us to do. He wants us to connect. So, I'm trying not to go too, deep on it, but it is what it is. I'm trying to do something here.
Well, I know too, our connection came about due to networking. A friend of mine referred me to you and said, would you like to have Dr. Fraser as a guest on your show? That's networking. And I said, sure. I said, we'd be honored to have Dr. Fraser on the show. So it really tells you, what is the saying? It's not always what you know, but it is who you know.
Well, yeah, it's not necessarily, the old saying is, it's not what you know, it's who you know. But there's another part to that.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, it's not what you know and who you know, but it's who knows you and what is it that they know about you. That's the
Mm,
most important thing. You could know 300 really important people,
right.
but if they all think you're a jerk, you got real problems.
That's true.
So that's just sort of fundamental.
Mhm.
I'm trying to get back to where are we here? There we go. Okay, I had lost the picture, and
Oh, okay.
so while you were asking me these questions, I was trying to do multiple tasks at the same
No
time.
problem. No problem.
Trying
So
to
we
get the
have
picture
a
back, and
question.
yeah, and now I'm all good. So
We have Charles Radney says, "Hello, Mary. Please tell Dr. Fraser I had the pleasure of being with him on his Zoom call last Thursday."
oh okay, okay.
So I
So
tell you,
let me get back to this thought
okay,
of the power of the human connection. Um, I was distracted while I was, as I told you, as we were
no
talking.
problem.
It begins actually, if you think about it deeply, in Genesis 1:31. And God saw everything that he made, and behold, it was good. That's what
Hmm.
that's what's in the Bible.
Right.
Except for in Genesis 2:18, there was only one thing God ever saw that he
Hmm.
was not happy with. And the
Hmm.
Lord said, this is Genesis 2:18. And
Hmm.
the Lord said, it is not good for man to be alone.
Hmm.
I will make him a helper
That's right.
comparable to him. Right? That's Genesis
Mhm.
Genesis 2:18.
Right.
Then there's a biblical declaration for the power and importance of relationships. It is John 5:30. It's a direct quote from Jesus Christ. There are 800,000 words in the Bible. Only 1,200 words are direct quotes from Jesus Christ. John 5:30. And Jesus said,
Hmm.
I of my own self can do nothing. Now,
Hmm.
this was Jesus.
Yes,
Jesus couldn't get it done
that's right.
on his own by himself in a vacuum. So, what's up with you or anybody watching? Why would you think there's anything you could do of significance worth talking about on your own by yourself in a vacuum? It is not possible. God's love of connection
Right.
is very clear. And he gave us two ways to ensure that we connect: sex and money. Now, let
Wow.
me unpack that.
That's true.
The motivation for sex is ecstasy. There's nothing that God has created that
Hmm.
can give you the ecstasy of sex. That's the motivation, but that is not the goal of sex.
Wow.
Goal of sex is procreation. That's
Right.
the goal of sex,
Right.
generally speaking, so that we can make more children to
Hmm.
serve us and for us to serve. Now, if we make more children
Hmm.
and we do a lousy job, and
Right.
we've all met parents or met the children of selected parents that have done an actually lousy job
Right.
raising their kids, there will be hell to pay.
That's
So
true.
this is one. The second, I said, money.
Yep.
There's only one real way, unless you have the luck of God. There's only one real way to make money, and that is through service. And the market determines the value of your service.
That's
If
true.
you're and making $10 an hour, you're only worth $10 an hour. The market determines the value of your service.
Wow.
So the more education that you acquire,
Hmm.
the more throughout every passage of your life that you are a student,
That's
Right?
true.
The
Hmm.
more I know, the clearer I understand how little I know. And I'm a reader. I read 100 books a year. I've got 2,500 books. This is my office. It's not a green screen. Okay.
Wow.
I got
Wow.
2,500 books in my office and 15,000 in my home. All right.
Woo.
I'm bragging. I'm just saying two of the most important things we can do is
Mhm.
reading. And I'll talk about the other at a little bit later date. But anyway,
Yes.
so service.
Mm.
So this means that we have to be committed to personal growth and development, constant never-ending improvement, and lifelong learning, so that we can improve our skills, we can evolve, we can change, we gather experience,
Right.
and we can get better at what we do. We can
Hmm.
get extraordinary at what we do. We can be
Right.
excellent at what we do. We can be
Right.
good at what we do. Right? I'm praying that you're at least one of those three. Uh, and the better you are at what you do, the more you earn money. And
Wow.
it's through the earning of money
Hmm.
that you're able to take care of yourself,
Yes.
your family,
Yes.
your children. And
Yep.
the more money you make, the better those things can be. So if you want to send your children to private schools, that
Correct.
requires money.
That's right.
If your children are that smart and they qualify to go to Harvard, that
Right.
costs
That's
money.
money. That's
So
right.
money is not something to be worshiped. It
Hmm.
is something to be utilized for the benefit of others. Our work must be a combination of our purpose
Right.
and
Uh,
service to
Right.
others. That's what we do. We do our work in
True.
service to others. We're doing a Zoom call. This
Right.
is your work, right? You do
Mhm.
it not just you're not just sitting here watching me talk, right? Right?
No.
You streamed it out to anybody that wants to see it,
That's
right?
right.
So you are providing a service
Yeah.
to your audience. As I
Hmm.
hope that by my conversation with you, I
Right.
am providing a service.
Therapist.
Now, I
Hmm.
won't get paid directly, right, from
Right.
the hundreds or thousands that may be watching.
Correct.
I'll get paid indirectly
Correct.
because what we're talking about is congruent with the purpose of life.
Yeah.
What is the purpose of life, Dr. Fraser? Well, the purpose of life actually is very simple because God doesn't make anything complicated because he needs for everybody to understand the
Hmm.
purpose. So the purpose of life is simply now you're going to write this down, everybody, and you're never going to be able to unhear this. And you're never ever going to be able to say to anybody from this day forward, you don't know why God put you here. So I'm going to tell you right now.
Okay.
And this is the gospel according to George. Okay.
Okay.
Purpose of life is to love, to give, to serve, and to add the highest value to somebody or something every minute of every day. That is the purpose of
Oh,
life. Now, let's get back to the purpose of you.
right.
So, your journey is to find out how, in fact, do you fill that purpose by
Wow.
understanding through trial and error, through obstacles,
Correct.
that thing that God put you here to do. Now, that is no straight path with a
Mhm.
painted line.
Nope.
That is a circuitous path full of hills and valleys and twists and turns. Let me say that a different way. Excuse me for preaching here.
No, you're fine. I'm sitting.
It's a very important moment. It's a
I
very important
know.
moment.
Wow.
Um, my favorite quote outside of the Bible is
Hmm.
a quote by Marcus Aurelius, one of the five great Caesars. There were 40 Caesars, but Marcus Aurelius was one of the five great Caesars. And right at the beginning, he said this over 1,100 years ago. And I love this quote. I may have to interpret it for a few. It may go over the head of a few, but I'll say it another way.
Okay.
So here's what Marcus Aurelius said. around 800 BC, before Christ.
Right.
He said, the impediment to action advances the action. What stands in your way becomes the way.
Wow.
Right? Now, let me say that differently, brothers and sisters. For those of you who are listening, you may want to bring a few friends onto this call. Let me say it differently. The obstacle, Mary, is the way. Where there is no obstacle, there is no way. If a mountain was smooth, you couldn't climb it.
I get it. I get it.
You get that?
I do get it.
So, what is the first thing God does when He gives you an assignment that He feels that you are prepared for? The second thing God does is He puts an obstacle in your way.
Yeah.
And your job is to find a way over, around, through, and under the obstacle to learn the lessons, to stumble and fall, to get back up, and to fail. And when you do that, you get an attaboy or an attagirl from God, and then you get your next assignment at a slightly higher level based on the lessons you learned from the last obstacle. Now, we do know that there are Negroes out here that never learn. I've dealt with them. I've had 5 conversations with a brother about the same damn problem. I said, man, you don't ever learn. We're talking about this 5 times.
So what does that say, though?
So that's what our whole, when you look back over your whole life, brothers and sisters, that's what your life is. Overcoming the obstacles so that you can learn the lessons that God wants you to learn in preparation for what He is preparing you for. Let me give you an example from my life.
Okay.
Orphan, 3 years, and foster child. I aged out of toxic foster care in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, New York.
Uh-huh.
No one thought I was college material. So I was sent to a vocational high school. And I got a vocational diploma in carpentry. Okay? So I actually can do carpentry and cabinet making, and I love it.
Okay.
But I couldn't get a job in carpentry back in the day because the Italians in New York control the carpentry union. And so they were not giving jobs to African Americans back then. We're now talking in the late 50s and 60s.
Right.
So my first job was mopping floors and cleaning urinals and toilets at LaGuardia Airport. That was my first real job. That was sort of a quasi-government job.
Okay.
If you were to go to LaGuardia Airport today and go down into the maintenance department today, there's a picture on the wall. It's me. I was the best floor mopper in the history of LaGuardia Airport. I spit shine those toilets and urinals. What's the point, Dr. Fraser? How you do anything is how you do everything, right?
Yep.
It's not how you start, it's how you finish. But the greater point is this. While mopping floors, I was asking God, why?
Oh, you froze. Oh, let me see. Oh,
Am I mopping? Here we go. We're back.
Okay.
You're
back. Yeah, I see you now. Yeah, you're fine now.
Okay. So I asked God, why was I mopping floors? And it was revealed to me 20 years later, in my mid-30s. What was the reason? He was preparing me for leadership, and he was teaching me empathy.
Yeah.
To be able to work among the least of us.
Wow.
And as Dr. King said, it doesn't matter what you do, be the best at what you do, because if you're mopping floors, it doesn't make any difference, because that is in preparation for the next thing that you will do. As I said earlier, how you do anything is how you do everything.
It's true.
right?
It is.
So everything happens for a reason, Mary, and serves us in some special way. And we will never understand the reason looking forward. We will only understand it looking backwards. And being a leader requires empathy to be able to put yourself in other people's position. Why? Because you've been there, done that, you got that t-shirt and you got that umbrella.
That's
You
right.
know what it feels like.
Mm-hmm.
So this is extraordinarily important. Malcolm Gladwell, one of my favorite authors,
Mm-hmm.
wrote, the most common attribute of the rich are friends and contacts and connections. Rich people have lots of friends. I was telling a group that I was talking to, I have a living encyclopedia of African American experts in every single thing that you could possibly imagine.
Wow.
Any question, anything I need done,
Right.
I could make a phone call and the problem can be solved or the
Mhm.
information can be gotten right over the phone.
Wow.
We need other people. In fact,
Mhm.
the measure of your wealth is other people. And this is the human connection. And this is what God wanted for his children,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? Now, one human being serving another human being. That's
Right.
what he wanted, right?
Mhm.
Without other people to serve you and for you to serve them, you have nothing. What do you have? You have nothing.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I call the human connection, Mary,
Mhm.
customer service. And for me, customer service
Mm.
is close to worship service,
Wow.
right?
Mhm.
Additionally, many is always smarter than one.
It is.
Great leaders don't build businesses or organizations, they build people,
Oh.
and people build businesses and organizations. You cannot do it by yourself.
No, you do
Now,
not. Mhm.
money, let's get this straight,
Mhm.
is simply a verification that value was exchanged. That's all it really was. If
Yeah.
you go into a restaurant, you order your food and the waiter is outstanding.
Mhm.
They earn extra tips.
Correct.
They earn bigger tips, right?
Mhm.
It says that people will pay you extra money just to treat them with dignity and respect and to give them service. Well,
Yeah.
what is the purpose of life? Love, giving, serving,
Yeah.
and adding value.
Yeah.
People will
Right.
pay you extra for that. So money, metaphorically speaking, is just a certificate of appreciation. That's all it is.
For
When
the
I give
for
you
the
money,
service you
I'm
receive.
appreciating the
Yeah.
work that you did for me and how you served me.
Correct. That's correct.
But money alone does not make you happy.
No.
It's how you earn it and how you share it. And God has a deal. Now, God is very generous. Here's the deal with God on money, in
Okay.
case you've forgotten out there. The deal with God on money is 90-10.
Mhm.
All the money you earn,
Yeah.
you keep 90%.
That's right.
10% must be given away.
Yeah.
If you ain't giving, you ain't getting. If you have nothing, it's because you've given nothing. If you cannot take out of life that which you have not put into life, just as you cannot take out of the bank that which you have not put into the bank. God prefers equity versus debt. But
Mm.
the nature of money is what? Debt converted to equity. You go
Wow.
into debt to buy a home or, right? A home.
Yeah.
You pay your mortgage, and over time, the value of that home increases. You pay that home off, and now you have a multiple hundreds of thousand piece of equity.
That's right. That's right. We have a
You
few
invest in a
questions.
college degree,
Hmm.
you convert that knowledge into what? Equity.
Yeah.
So, this is hugely important. So, what have I said? Know your purpose. Why has God put you here? Now, don't get all twisted and bent out of shape. It takes time.
Hmm.
It takes time. The average male doesn't mature until 40 years. 40 years.
Hmm.
So, a brother out here looking for a wife at 25, 30, you out of your mind. You don't even know who you are, let alone try to take care of a sister and a family and all the business responsibilities of a family.
Yeah.
So I urge brothers and sisters, certainly brothers, take your time. This is the biggest and most important decision you will ever make in your life, unless you just BSing. If you don't really mean when you put your hand on that Bible, till death do us part, now that's a hell of a commitment.
It is. It really is.
Georgine and I have been married for 50 years. I've been married to the same sister for 50. That's 50, y'all. Right? So people ask me all the time, Dr. Fraser, what's the key to staying married to the same sister for 50 years?
Hmm.
I say, oh, it's very simple. It's just two words. Amnesia is the first word, and,
Oh my goodness.
and succumbing. Succumbing. So let me explain it. See, in 50 years, Dr. Fraser is going to do some dumb stuff. It's impossible for me not to. I ain't perfect. And so is Nora G. Fraser. She's going to do some dumb stuff too.
Hmm.
So when we do our dumb stuff, we come together, we discuss it calmly, we reach middle ground. Listen to me, brothers and sisters. And then we bless it and release it, never to bring it up again. Unless, of course, you're stupid enough to do it again. That's a whole other story,
Right.
right? And then I said, what is the second word? Succumb. At some point in time in this relationship where you're growing together like a twisted fica, instead of growing apart, or you outgrowing her, or she outgrowing you, you grow together like a twisted fica. At some point in that long term commitment,
Hmm.
you succumb to each other's picadillos, oddities, right?
Hmm.
Differences, right? Because it's impossible to bring two. I was born in Brooklyn, New York. She was born in Cincinnati, Ohio, right? She was a Midwesterner. I'm an East Coaster.
Hmm.
Well, that's the cultural difference is night and day. So at some point in time, you have to figure out how to mesh that.
You do.
Right? And there's some things
Hmm.
she does differently, some words she uses different. You succumb to that. You don't criticize. You don't start wars over. And this is how you stay connected to a brother or a sister and fulfill your vows. Now, this is very rare today. Now, this was not rare when I was a kid. Right?
Right.
Our parents stayed together come hell or high water. They said they did it for the kids, of course, right? But generally speaking, no.
Hmm.
And having a child out of wedlock when I was a kid, oh no, you know what happened when if you lived in the north of Brooklyn and you had a child out of wedlock, you know what happened? You went south.
Hmm.
Ask any OG. You went south. You
Yeah.
disappeared.
Yeah.
Right? Now, 72% of our children are born out of wedlock.
Wow.
Only six,
That's-
all right? Only 60% of our children, 60% of our children are raised in single parent households. So there are some challenges there.
yeah.
So what are the key action steps? I said Find your mission, find your purpose, find your partner. And sisters, let me give you some advice. If you can't build with them, don't chill with them.
If you can't build with them, don't chill with them.
It ain't supposed to be free.
Wow. You giving advice.
And
You
by the
giving
way,
advice.
sisters, you have all the power. Right? So
All right, ladies.
now, what's another piece of advice? Always be connecting with quality people. Don't spend major time with minor people. People going nowhere want you to go nowhere with them. People doing nothing want you to do nothing with them. If you want to change your life, change your relationships. If you are not where you want to be in life, it's because you don't have the right people in your life.
Wow.
Really. Now, I've just spent
Wow.
30 minutes helping you understand you can't do this thing by yourself.
That's right.
You're going to do it with and through other people. So don't spend major time with minor people.
Wow.
This is going to determine your life. If you are not where you want to be in life, it's because you don't have the right people in your life. It's you. Don't blame them. You selected them.
Wow.
Right?
You're
So
right. You're
you've
right.
got to spend 90% of your time with people that you need and they need you. So there are three networks that you have to work on throughout your entire life. Maybe no one's ever told you, so I'm going to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
There's your personal network. These are the people that know you, love you, hug you, lift you up. Let's call that your network at home.
Got it?
Huge. That's network number one. The second network is an operational network. These are the people that will platoon in and out of your life, and they help you to get specific tasks done in your life. And you've heard the old saying, people come into your life for what? A reason,
Mm-hmm.
a season,
Yep.
lifetime.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
There are only a couple of people in my life, to include my wife and my sister, who are here with me for a lifetime. Right? Now think about that. How
That's
many?
true.
I mean, if your parents are still living or whatever, yes, or you know, your close your siblings and your parents.
Right.
But there are only a handful of people that are with you for a lifetime.
Right. It's
So
true.
that's the first. So let's call that your network at home. And then you have to determine, are they with you for a reason, a season, or a lifetime?
Right.
The second, again, is your operational. Well, I started with that. I segue to that operational network.
Mm-hmm.
And these, again, are people that help you to get specific tasks done in life. So they're friends that you had when you were in your 20s and you were kicking it and you all helped each other. Maybe you went to
Mm-hmm.
school together. Then people you came into your life in your 40s. There were people that come in your life in your 60s. And they're probably not going to be the same people, generally speaking.
Right.
It's your operational network. And then the final network is your strategic network. These are the people that are smarter than you. These are the people that will drag you into the 21st century kicking, screaming, and crying. Right? These are the people who are where you want to be. These are the people that can ultimately be your coach, your
Mm-hmm.
mentor,
Right.
or mentors. So those are the three networks. And those are the ones that you have to work on every single day. And you, in a sense, in the quiet of your own mind, you have to categorize them. What
Mm-hmm.
role do they play in my life? You don't
Mm-hmm.
call all your friends about all your business and all your stuff.
No.
Certain friends you talk to about certain things, other friends you talk to about other things,
Yes.
right? So it's the same thing. So you have to always be connecting with quality people, especially if you're going into business. And most of us are going to be in, either we're going to work for somebody, a business,
Mm-hmm.
right? And even
Right.
if you're working for a nonprofit or you're working for the government, that's a big ass business. Okay. It's a
Yeah.
business, right?
Yeah.
If you're an entrepreneur, it's a business. So business is about relationships. Without relationships, you have no business.
Yeah.
Without relationships, you have no business being in business. The business you're really in is the business of building relationships. That's
Yeah.
the business you're in,
Yeah. You're right. You're absolutely right.
right? You say, well, no, I'm in the business to make money. Well, you ain't going to make no money without relationships. You ain't going
That's
to make no
right.
money without customers and building a relationship with your customers. You ain't going to make any money unless you know how to treat the people that work with you.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. We have a couple of comments from our audience. First, I'd like to say hi to Richard. Richard Nichols. Hi, Richard. He said hi to me and to you, Dr. Fraser. And
Hi.
we have Gwendolyn. She says, I like what you said about networking being God ordained. We've definitely felt the lack during the COVID-19 lockdown. God certainly gives us support through each other. And then thank you for your comments, Gwen. And then we have Charles Radney. Charles says, ask Dr. Fraser if before he closes, he shared the fable about whether the grass is blue. I saw that smile come across your
Oh,
face. So
he heard that.
yes,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. I mean, man. So yeah, he must have been on a recent call where I read that story.
he said so.
The grass is blue. The grass is blue. Okay, I'll cover that. Let me find it because it was something I dug out and I really liked it. And if you want me to do it now, I can do it right now. Or if you want me to serve it as a, but there's one other thing I want to talk about because the time goes by fast, right?
It does. And
Well,
this is
right already. So let me read. The grass is blue, but
okay.
that's really not the title of the story. The title of the story is The Donkey, the Tiger, and the Lion.
Okay.
Okay.
That's the title. The
That's the title of
donkey.
the story. The donkey.
Okay. Uh-huh.
The donkey told the tiger, the grass is blue. And the tiger replied, no, the grass is green. The discussion became heated, and the two decided to submit the issue to arbitration. So they approached the lion. As they approached the lion on his throne, the donkey started screaming, Your Highness, isn't it true that the grass is blue? And the lion replied, If you believe it's true, the grass is blue. And the donkey rushed forward and continued, and the tiger disagreed with him and contradicts me, and he annoys me, and please punish him. That's what he asked the lion. So the king, the lion, said, uh, he declared the tiger would be punished with 3 days of silence. And the donkey jumped with joy and went on his way, content and repeating, The grass is blue, the grass is blue. The tiger asked the lion, Your Majesty, why have you punished me after all the grass is green? And the lion replied, You've known and seen that the grass is green. The tiger asked, So why punish me? He said, The lion replied, That has nothing to do with the question of whether the grass is blue or green.
Uh-huh.
The punishment is because it is degrading for a brave, intelligent creature like you to waste your time arguing with an ass. On top of that, you came and bothered me with that question just to validate something you already knew was true. The biggest waste of time is arguing with a fool and a fanatic who doesn't care about truth or reality, but only the victory of his beliefs and illusions.
Wow.
Waste time on discussions that make no sense. There are people who, for all the evidence presented to them, do not have the ability to understand. Others are blinded by ego, hatred, and resentment. And the only thing that they want is to be right, even if they aren't. So when emotions run high, intellect runs low.
Wow. Wow. Thank you
All
for
right.
that.
True
You know,
fable, right? I love that story. I read it often,
wow.
and I'm getting
Wow.
people.
This is from Gwendolyn. She says, "Know your purpose. Why has God put you here, and what else?" Thank you for that. And then
All right,
we have.
I'm gonna give you three things I want you to write down.
Oh,
This is not from me. This is from the great French philosopher, black philosopher, Franz Fanon. These are three questions you're going to have to ask yourself. Write them down, but it will take the rest of your life to answer them.
wow.
It's
And then
simple.
let me say hello to Tanya. That's my sister-in-law.
Oh,
Hi,
Tanya.
Tanya.
So here are three questions. These are the
Okay.
ultimate three questions. Who am I?
Mhm.
Why do I exist? And am I all that I am capable of being? Franz Fanon, great French philosopher, black.
Mhm.
Who am I? Why do I exist? And am I all I'm capable of being?
Wow.
So let's we've got about 14 minutes left.
We do.
We talked about pre-show a real deep problem that our people have.
Mhm.
Um, A, we do not know who we are,
Mhm.
and we don't really know who they are.
That's true.
We don't know, for example, when it comes to us,
Mhm.
that we are the children of the slaves that would not die, that we have the genetic encoding of the great kings and queens of Africa, that we were building pyramids and solving complex engineering problems when other cultures were living in caves practicing cannibalism.
That's right.
Now, that's not an exaggeration.
No, it's true. No,
They
that
were in the
yeah.
Caucasus Mountains in caves, eating each other.
That's right.
We were building pyramids and solving complex engineering problems 5,000 years before
Mhm.
Christ. So, in spite of the fact that America kept its foot on our throat for 350 years, we overcame that
Right.
and we rose like the phoenix. Therefore, if everything happens for a reason, as I said earlier, and
Mhm.
serves us in some special way,
Right.
and you will never understand the reason looking forward, brothers and sisters, you will only understand it looking backwards. Maybe we were not brought here. Maybe we were sent here. Do you believe that God would put his weakest people here in America to do his toughest job? How could an America who could morally, spiritually, and biblically justify the kidnapping, raping, and pillaging of another two people, natives already in America and
Mhm.
Africans brought to America, have any moral or spiritual grounding? And perhaps had God not sent Africans here, America might have self destructed by now.
Wow. Wow.
Now, that's another way
Yeah.
to internalize in a powerful way
Mhm.
our struggle. But it was for a reason. You have to think that it must be some greater reason that we did not understand. Now, let me give you some evidence of this. Mary and I were talking earlier, and I said in my book, Success Runs in Our Race. If you haven't read this book, brothers and sisters, you need to read it. It's a
Right.
modern day classic. I wrote it 30 years ago.
Mhm.
It's a complete guide to effective networking in the African American community now. Other than the Bible and a few classics, this book still sells 10,000 copies on Amazon every year, 30 years later. There are not a lot of books that are still being sold
Right.
at 10,000 a pop a year 30 years later. So it is required reading again in 57 historically black colleges. If you haven't read it, please read it. But on page 63 of the book, is where I wanted to, because it's early in the book. The book is 300 pages. I wanted to start the book out, because it's a book about networking, helping our people understand the fundamental philosophical differences between us and white people. All right.
We talked about
And
that.
it is really a comparison of Eurocentric white folks thinking,
Yeah.
Euro and African centric thinking. It is the fundamental difference between the Eurocentric worldview, how white people see the world, and
Hmm.
then how black people see the world. It's a list of the Eurocentric ethos, and ethos is the fundamental character or spirit of a culture and the underlying sentiments that informs the beliefs and customs or practices of a group, of a society, or of a culture. That's ethos.
Right.
And then finally, Eurocentric cosmology, and cosmology is a little different than ethos. It's the branch of philosophy, brothers and sisters, dealing with the origin and general structure of the universe with its parts, its elements, its laws, its characteristics as space, time, causality, and freedom. All right. So I'm
Wow.
going to give you a straight up short comparative difference,
Hmm.
starting with a Eurocentric worldview. Now, this is important because we have to deal with white people,
Yeah.
right?
That's true.
So you
Yes.
better know how they're thinking. So, strategically and tactically, as you have to deal with them, you can develop a strategy that is comfortable within the context of how you think to deal with them and be in your right mind. Okay.
Right.
So, Eurocentric worldview. This is how white people see the world.
Okay.
Order is imposed by the stronger force. The stronger force gains advantage by ordering the universe as it wishes. That's how white people see the world.
Mm.
They are the stronger force, and the universe will do as I tell it to do. Now, African centered worldview.
Hmm.
The universe is active and alive, and the laws of nature reveal its inherent order, as well as the Creator's divine laws.
Totally
You
different
see
thinking.
how big the gap is between their
Mhm.
worldview and our
My
world.
worldview. Yeah.
That's why we are the most morally grounded and spiritually rooted people on the planet.
Wow.
Now, Eurocentric thinking, survival of the fittest, promotes a drive for mastery and control of nature and the accumulation of possessions. African centered thinking, listen up
Mhm.
carefully. There is a oneness of all things. Life is primary and
Mm.
must reflect a divine nature. Group maintenance, collectiveness, and sharing are essential.
Totally different.
Totally different.
We don't. There is no. I haven't heard you say anything that we agree upon. Not one thing. It's
We
like,
disagree upon. Right, right. Eurocentric ethos,
mhm.
the fundamental character and spirit of a culture. Control and mastery of all life. White supremacy.
Mhm.
African centered ethos. Life is primary and is the oneness of all things. All things are one in harmony with nature. Finally, Eurocentric cosmology. Humans exist apart and separate from nature in an independent and separate collection of entities that comprise the universe. African centered cosmology.
Mm-hmm.
The universe originates from the Creator and reflects the interconnectedness and interdependence of all things. See, now when you come to grips with that, when you understand
Mm-hmm.
the gap between how they think and how we think,
Right.
you'll manage them better.
You're right.
Doesn't mean that you have to accept white supremacy. There's a
Right.
big sword fight going on about all over the world about that right now.
Right. But you need to understand it.
You
Understand
need
where the thinking for of white supremacy, where it comes from. I agree.
And you have seen, if you read any history books, you have seen that play out in every country
Mhm.
in the world, beginning with the Berlin Conference in Germany, where they divided up Africa, and each European country colonized an African country. The only one they didn't was Ethiopia.
That's right. We have comments,
Where,
Dr.
Euro-
Fraser.
where Europeans
Hmm.
got on boats from England,
Right?
came to America, and discovered it, in spite of the fact there were hundreds of thousands of Native Americans living on it.
Isn't that something?
I said, "Oh, we're stronger than you. We have this thing called guns.
Mhm.
You got bow and arrows. This land that you call yours. Oh, no, 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 no. Do you have a deed on this?" And the Indian said, "A deed. This is for everybody." So you see, I mean, it's been played
Mhm.
out throughout
Over and
history
over.
over and over.
We have a
So that's,
comment from
yeah, that's,
Oliver Welch, and we
yeah,
want to make sure because Oliver is actually the executive producer for the show, and he just happens to be my husband. So he said,
your husband.
he says,
I thought he sounded intelligent.
Dr. Fraser, thank you for returning to the show and blessing us with your wealth of knowledge.
I've got a 5 o'clock, so it's 4:57. I'm gonna. Can I close with a little offer for the Power
You
Networking?
can.
The Power Networking Conference. What did I do with my little flyer? I don't know what I did with it.
I said,
But the
hi,
Power
Dr.
Networking Conference is coming up August the 2nd. So here it is. August the 2nd through the 5th in Houston, Texas next year.
Okay.
Awesome this year. This is one of the little flyers.
Okay.
This
August
is a,
2nd through the
this is a
5th.
2020 flyer, but this is generally what they look like. The new 2023, I should have gotten one of those. I have one. But so what I would like to do, if you look on the back of our little flyer,
Mhm.
and you can go to powernetworkingconference.com and see it, you'll see that one adult registration is $1,495,
Got it.
and one student registration is $800.
Right.
We sell out every year. This is our 22nd conference coming up. Forbes magazine named us one of the top 5 conferences in America not to be
Right.
missed. Not one of the top 5 Black conferences, one of the top 5, although I would be proud of that anyway, but
Right.
one of the top 5 of all conferences put on in this country. It's a
And
place where you connect, grow, and prosper so that you can learn, earn, and return. We cover only 3 topics:
what are the dates?
building,
Mhm.
August 2nd through the 5th.
Okay.
We cover building, managing, growing wealth,
Right.
building, managing, growing a business,
Right.
right? Obviously, the power of the human connection and networking,
Right.
right? Those are the 3 main. The fourth is a little softer, but it's needed. We cover wellness,
Uh,
psychological wellness because we're out of our natural minds, and physical wellness because they're connected. So I gave you a little wellness course
you did.
when I defined the difference between Eurocentric thinking
Right.
and African centered thinking, et cetera,
And
et
we're
cetera.
about to get cut off, and I don't want the show to just.
Okay.
So, Dr.
Yeah,
Fraser,
it's a $2,300 package. $2,300 package. I'm going to give it to you for $599, $1,700 off. You got to email me gfraser@frasernet.com, gfraser@frasernet.com.
Got
Put your
it.
name and your cell number in the email. I'll personally call you. You'll get it instead of $2,300 for one adult and one student.
Right.
You'll get it for $599, $1,700 discount.
Wow.
It's all about love. The offer is good for 24 hours. So G Fraser at FraserNet.com. G
Got it.
Fraser, just as my name is spelled, at FraserNet, one word.
All righty.
All right.
Thank you,
Thank
Dr.
you, Mary.
Fraser.
All
All
right.
right.
Appreciate it.
God bless you.
God love you. God bless you too. All right now.